I'm John DeSando.
Cinema, 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 cinema. Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema Classics on NPR.
Cinema Classics is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. And listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm G Kline.
And this is Cinema Classics. And it's hard to be light about anything that is about the extermination of over 6 million people.
And also a death penalty trial.
Yes, yes.
All of these things coming together in the movie Nuremberg.
Yes.
With Russell Crowe and Rami Malek.
Yes.
Two of our hot stars.
Michael Shannon.
Making an appearance. Yes, and Tom Hanks' son.
Yeah, I've never
first time
impressed
we've
by
seen
him.
him.
Wayne is impressed by him, but I'm not. I think he looks goofy and he looks uncomfortable.
He did a good job in A Man Called Otto, playing a young version of Tom Hanks.
All right, well,
I'll give him
that's
that.
Tough. Yeah,
but we're stretching back about 2 years.
So Nuremberg, you're Jewish.
I am
so
Jewish.
I wondered if this film, which is really about Hermann Goering, right? I mean, it's really not the old Judgment at Nuremberg.
No. Judgment at Nuremberg by Stanley Kramer back in the early 60s is a masterpiece. It's an amazing film about seeking justice for the 6 million Jews that were lost in the concentration camps, as well as the atrocities that were committed on a variety of other people throughout the war. Catholics suffered, Gypsies suffered, gay, all suffered under the Nazi regime. This movie is almost a biopic, but not quite. I'm going to start by saying that Benjamin Franklin once said, treason is the excuse that the winners use to hang the losers. But what happens when the losers are in their own country, subject to their own courts, and the winners are coming to their country with their own team of lawyers and judges to prosecute people that were basically fighting their war in their own nation? It's a complicated legal problem that this movie touches upon, but not as well as I would have liked.
You are showing your Carnegie Mellon University training, and that is you're mixing mechanical engineering with humanities. Once you start down that road, I just go back and I let you just go, because you're going to analyze the hell out of the parts of this movie. So of course I'm leaning on the humanities side. I don't give a darn about the accuracy. It looks pretty accurate to me, the film.
The film is very accurate. The film actually gives the actors the transcripts of the trial and has them read their lines right off the transcripts. These are the exact words that Hermann Goering said during the course of the trial. Where I have problems with this is there are no good guys in this movie. There are no people, there is no heroic actions, there is no seeking justice for the sake of justice.
You don't think Shannon's role as Jackson, as the, this justice, the prosecutor?
Jackson was attempting to use this trial to get attention, to get put on the Supreme Court. He wanted to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Part of that, I'm glad they don't hammer that heavily.
Yeah, but this was an opportunity he saw to get attention for himself and to have Truman put him on the Supreme Court. Rami Malek's character is no hero. This is a guy who is a psychiatrist who is absolutely disregarding his oath of confidentiality in order to gain information for the Allies clandestinely and try to make a lot of money by writing a book about what he hears.
For the film, ostensibly, he is testing them to see if they're suited to go to trial.
Yes.
Are they sane enough to go to trial?
And that was a reasonable legal thing.
And you know something, I like the nuance that he admits toward the end he was looking toward making a book out of this. Because that's real.
And that's real, and he did that right from the onset. He
Yeah.
was there to make, he saw this as an opportunity. He was an opportunist and trying to exploit this situation. Everybody here is trying to exploit this trial. I just don't see this as the good versus evil that this story should be.
Oh my gosh, but Ken, how much more evil do you want than that tub of guts sitting up there with his arm on the bench?
Hermann Goering, yes, yes, played by
how much
Russell
more
Crowe.
evil do you want?
Well, here's the thing. Stanley Kramer, back in '62, when he did Judgment at Nuremberg, he had the opportunity to do this story. He could have filmed this film in his own style, but he did not want to put Hermann Goering on the screen in American theaters, standing up for the Nazi regime and defending, very, very well, by the way, why they did what they did. He wanted a story that was simply the evil of the Nazi regime, so he chose to film the story of the German justices, the German judges, who allowed the power to continue unjustly in Germany.
And I really appreciated the filmmaker here, and this is James Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I really like the fact, and he's one of the writers. He is the writer, I think, of this script. Is that he allows Goering to be bright and to be
Goering was
maybe
bright.
the smartest guy in the room.
Goering was a brilliant, brilliant man. He was a sociopath. He was a narcissist.
Yes.
But he did not become Hitler's right-hand person because he was stupid.
Right.
And my only problem with Russell Crowe is I think he underplays this role.
Doesn't
When
he?
you see actual film footage of Goering talking, I hate to say this, it reminds me for all the world of Donald Trump. He was loud, he was boisterous,
Yeah.
he was dynamic, he got your attention. Crowe underplays that. He is very subtle in his
Well,
interpretation.
you know, I'm thinking that I've appreciated his underplaying. You're now making me think again. But still, when you have genocide underneath everything here, how much more does an actor like Crowe need to do? Because every second that we're watching him, we're thinking about the atrocities for which he must eventually account.
And one thing that the director did here, which I give him a lot of respect for, is he shows 6 minutes
Oh,
of
really rough.
yeah, of Ford's,
Take your bathroom break.
yes, of Ford's actual footage of
Yes.
the concentration camps
Oh.
that was shown during the original Nuremberg trial. The whole film is 22 minutes long. And for many people, it was the very first time that the footage of the concentration camps was seen by anybody. And when Stanley Kramer did Judgment in Nuremberg and showed a few minutes of the same footage, it was the first time most Americans had ever seen that footage as well.
Yeah, and I thought that in the case of Raimi and maybe that they could have had a chance to see this. I can't believe this was the first time that the film was showing as if this were a shocking.
Well, and
visual.
it actually was, because the concentration camps, the Americans claimed deniability of knowledge about them. Right, because the question still remains to this day, why didn't we bomb them? Why didn't we bomb the railroad lines? Why didn't we stop the movement of people to those camps? We could have. And what has always come out is, well, we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how bad it was. And that trial with the footage by John Ford, the great director John Ford, that was the first time in reality that most people became aware of just how horrific the concentration
A short
camps
while
were.
after this, there is a documentary called Night and Fog, and it is a brilliant piece of understatement, because visually all you need is like the few minutes that we had. In this
Yes,
film. I mean,
yes.
you don't need any more than to see that. When you see a bulldozer
Pushing hundreds of bodies.
yeah,
Yes.
it's just.
And the emaciated people.
Yeah.
The idea there was to anger the court, to make them see just how horrific this was, and how can you give these people anything short of a death sentence for committing such a crime. But one thing also that this director does wrong is he portrays the 22 people on trial as all receiving the death penalty. And they didn't. Only half of them were given the death penalty.
I thought there was some notion there about they're getting 20 years, and some of them getting 20 years.
Well, he makes a character out of Admiral Donitz, the commander of the U-boat
Right.
fleets. Donitz actually was never a Nazi. He denounced Nazism. He was a soldier. He was given 10 years. He was released in 1955. He moved to a small farm outside of Munich. He wrote 2 books about submarine tactics. And he was later called to teach at Annapolis and at a couple of other major naval colleges in Western Europe about those tactics. He became a very important historical figure. And that's another thing about this movie that this movie bothers me, is that they portray Donitz just the same way as Goering, and they're all indistinguishable. No, they're not.
I know, I love having you around, because I, of course, just slide over all of that. I am just into the general impression. I'm interested in you as a Jew, how you respond to this, but fortunately, you take your MCU or whatever your
CMU, yeah.
your training, and you look at the heart of it and don't complain.
One of the things we got right as Americans trying these people in Germany is we distinguished between the ones that were the hardcore Nazis, the architects of World War II and of the concentration camps, and the people who were really just devoted soldiers doing their job to stand up for their country. And those people like Donitz, they were given 10, 15-year
Yes.
sentences, and several of them were actually released because they were not Nazis.
Yes.
They targeted the hardcore Nazis. Those are the ones that were put to death.
All right, G Kline, we have much more to say in our podcast, and that's Double Take, and you have to go to WCBE.org, the podcast experience, to hear it. We have much more to say, including I want to look a little bit at Russell Crowe's career.
Okay.
Because I think he's a fascinating actor. The movie is Nuremberg. What do you suggest?
It is a very watchable film. Their performances are very good. I don't know, I would say it's Oscar worthy, but I would say if you want to see...
You are so tough.
I am tough.
I think this is...
It's a tough year, though. We got some great
But I
performances
think
this year.
in the vein of Oppenheimer, this stands right behind it. I think it's better than Oppenheimer for me.
Oh, wow.
It's more nuanced.
Okay.
Oppenheimer just dragged a bit in the middle, but Oppenheimer really dragged for me as you were concentrating on that not always interesting character. and Russell Crowe as Goering and
Russell Crowe
Reagan,
giving a very subtle performance.
made me
as
want
Goering.
hours more. I was just fascinated by this brilliant man, the Reich Marshal, and how he almost beat him.
He almost...
And
he
it was
did almost
predicted.
beat him. Well, we can go into
We'll
that
go
in the
into that
podcast.
later,
But
yeah.
yes, I would recommend, do see this movie, especially because it has historical value. Is it Schindler's List? No, it's not that, but it is something you will learn from, and it's very well done.
Yeah. I'm John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some